The topic for today's class is Class 1 Amalgam Cavity Preparation. Actually, the term cavity preparation has been removed and we have to use the term tooth preparation. Since we are following the old guidelines, we are using the term cavity preparation again and again in the lecture headings. Okay, now we will go into the topic. So before going into the steps in cavity preparation, first we need to know about the burrs. The most commonly used burr for amalgam preparation is the 245 burr. The dimensions you people should know. The dimensions of 245 burr are its length is 3 mm and the width diameter is 0.8 mm. If you see this burr, it is slightly convergent towards the shank, which gives the occlusal convergence of the facial and lingual preparation walls. And if you see the cutting edge, it is rounded, so it gives the internal angles rounded, so these gives the resistance and retention form. So then what is 330 burr? 330, it is a pear shaped burr, a smaller version of 245, and it is used when there is a smaller cavity or conservative cavity preparation or tooth preparation. So coming to the stages of tooth preparation, you people already would have studied in principles of tooth preparation. So it is divided into initial tooth preparation and final tooth preparation. So first is initial tooth preparation, which is nothing but outline form. Initial tooth preparation is defined as establishing the outline form by extension of the external walls to sound tooth structure while maintaining a specified limited depth. Usually the depth is inside the dentino-enamel junction, and it provides providing resistance and retention forms. So in the initial tooth preparation itself, we have to establish an outline form with the particular depth. That itself, it should provide a resistance and retention form, and the wall should be in the sound tooth structure. So class 1 occlusal tooth preparation is begun by entering the deepest or most in the most carious pit with the punch cut, usually with the 245 carbide burr at high speed with the air water spray. So the burr should be kept perpendicular to the occlusal plane. Perpendicular to the occlusal plane. Occlusal plane is nothing but imaginary plane touching all the cusp tip. So burr should always be kept perpendicular to the occlusal plane as shown in the pictures. So for lower premolars, there are some anatomical variations, like for lower premolars, handpiece should be lingually tilted. So here you can see the burr is placed little slightly angulated because the tooth crown of lower premolar itself is slightly lingually sloping. So to accommodate that sloping, we have to angulate the burr also. So when the pits are equally defective, for example, if the fissure is carious all over the occlusal surface, like from mesial to distal, we have to always start from the distal pit. The punch cut should be given in the distal pit and then you have to move towards the mesial pit. So this provides an increased visibility for the mesial extension. And one more important clinical point is that the burr should be rotating when it is applied to the tooth and should not stop rotating until it is removed from the tooth, because it will, if you stop rotating in between, it will create some cuts or some unnecessary rough marks will be happening in the tooth structure. The cavity will not be smooth. So punch cut means direct downward penetration without any lateral tilting. This will result in cylindrical cavity with same diameter as the burr chosen. So an initial target depth of 1.5 mm should be established. This 1.5 mm will be from the central pit. So this is one half the length of the cutting portion of the 245 burr. Hence, this burr diameter is very much important. So, since it is 3 mm, initial outline form, initial depth should be 1.5 mm. It is nothing but half of the burr. So, if you know the burr dimension, then only you will cut the exact depth. We will cut it to the exact depth. So now cavity is extended to the predetermined conservative or conventional outline. For extending the cavity outline along the fissure, the rotating burr is reinserted into the prepared punch cavity and extended along the central fissure at the same depth, cutting equally on both sides of the fissure except in lower premolar, because the fissure itself will move towards more lingually and holding the burr perpendicular to the occlusal plane up to the involved marginal ridge. Always the burr should be positioned, it should be kept perpendicular to the occlusal plane. That is of very much important, and you have to move through the fissure to create a smooth margin, and both facial and lingual you have to follow a curve from the punch cavity you have created. So the depth, if you see from the picture, it will be 1.5 mm or half the length of the burr head from the central fissure, or it will be 2 mm from the cusp tip, or 2/3 length of the burr head from the KO surface margin. So the distal extension, or when to involve the marginal ridge. So always marginal ridge has to be preserved. It should be minimum of 1.6 mm for premolars. When comes to molars, this should be minimal of at least 2 mm. So to whether to involve the marginal ridge fissure or not depends on whether the caries is present or not. Okay, if caries is present occasionally, it requires a slight tilting of the burr distally around less than 10 degrees. This creates a slight occlusal divergence. Here if we see, there will be slight occlusal divergence will be there in the distal wall. Thereby it will prevent the creation of undermining of marginal ridge from its dentinal support. Here if we see in this picture, there is no undermining of marginal, there is undermining of marginal ridge. Here this enamel present without the dentin support, but here every enamel rods are present with dentin support. This gives the strength which we see in the next slide. So how will we measure the adequate thickness of marginal ridge is present or not? So what we told is that the width of the burr diameter is 0.8 mm. So it is the marginal ridge for premolar is ideal should be 1.6 mm. So two size of the diameter of the burr is you have to approximately measure it. So as I already mentioned, which cavity gives the highest strength means the ideal and strongest enamel margin only gives the strength. But which enamel margin? So whenever the enamel rods, there are full length enamel rods, like here if we see the A, there is full length enamel rod is present, then which is supported by dentin, then it gives the full strength. And next is the enamel rod which may be short, like if we see here these enamel rods are short, but if they are also supported by dentin, they will also give the strength. So if there is an undermining, like if we saw in the last picture, undermining of marginal ridge, there won't be dentinal support and it will cause the fracture of the tooth structure at the particular area. So next is the dovetail shape is prepared to include as much as fissure possible without weakening the marginal ridge. Here we can see the dovetail preparation. So if the marginal fissures are deep, enameloplasty can be done. But if the cavity is a conventional one, the cavity should similarly be extended to the other marginal ridge. So for example, if we take a maxillary molar, if there is an oblique ridge between two fissures, so if caries is undermined present below the oblique ridge, then you have to involve the oblique ridge also. But if it is not, then you have to prepare only the fissure itself. So while preparing that, care should be taken to maintain the same depth all over the fissure. If the cavity is conservative one, the outline should stop at the central pit itself. So what happens if the caries extends marginal from the in the fissure in the either mesial or distal marginal ridge? So first thing we need to do is enameloplasty. Enameloplasty is just smoothening of the fissures so that food won't get accumulated thing. Okay. So what if enameloplasty fails? If enameloplasty is unsuccessful in eliminating a mesial or distal fissure that extends to the crest of a marginal ridge, then we have three alternatives. We have three solutions. First one is we should not make any further change in the outline form. The prepared outline form is more than enough. No need to prepare for additionally for that. Okay. So next is extend through the marginal ridge when the marginal margins would be lingual to the contact. Here if we see, they have prepared the margin lingual to the contact area. So the second option is either you can you have to prepare the margin which is away from the contact area. If both is not there, then you have to prepare the fissure and convert it to a conservative class 2 preparation. Okay. So where and all it is indicated. So always you have to go for the first option. So only in case the patient is more prone to caries, like they have a high caries index, then you have to go for the second option. If second option is also not possible because this ridge comes in contact area, then you have to go for the conservative class 2 preparation. So whenever you are doing enameloplasty, the first option is enameloplasty. If it is not after doing enameloplasty also, if the caries doesn't go, then only you have to go for these three alternatives. So if enameloplasty, whenever you are doing enameloplasty, make sure that the KO surface angle for the tooth structure should be 100 degree and the amalgam restoration it should be 80 degree, or else it will fracture. The amalgam will fracture because the property of amalgam itself is like that. So in lower molars, from the central pit, the buccal and lingual fissure pass between the 2 or 3 buccal cusps and 2 lingual cusps. So dovetailing and enameloplasty may be needed in this without weakening the tooth structure. So the class 1 tooth preparation should have an outline form with gently lowing curves and distinct KO surface margins. A faciolingual width of no more than 1 to 1.5 mm and a depth of 1.5 to 2 mm are considered ideal, but this goal is subject to extension of the caries lesion. For you people, it is a preclinical conservative only, so there is only practical doing on typhoid teeth or intact extracted teeth, so there won't be any caries. So you have to prepare ideal cavity only. So the depth should be 1.5 to 2 mm and the faciolingual extension should be 1 to 1.5 mm. So the pulpal floor, depending on the enamel thickness, is almost always in dentin. It will always be in dentin only. Although conservation of the tooth structure is important, like for example, if you are making faciolingual width of 1 to 1.5 mm, you are telling that it is an ideal, but the instruments which you are having is not even going inside the cavity, then there is no convenience form. So the conservation of the tooth structure is important. In similar way, convenience form also is important. Convenience form requires that the extent of the preparation be adjusted to provide adequate access and visibility to the cavity. This completes the initial tooth preparation for class 1 amalgam tooth preparation. After initial tooth preparation, the pulpal floor should remain at the initial ideal depth even if caries remains in the pulpal floor. So if in case if caries is there, it should be ideal. It should be the cavity floor should be in the dentin and it should be in the ideal depth only. So in the final stage of tooth preparation only, you have to remove the caries. So let's see the primary resistance form and retention form in the initial tooth preparation. The primary resistance form is provided by the smooth, flat pulpal floor parallel to occlusal plane, which will resist the force directed along the long axis of the tooth. So minimal extension of external walls reduces the weakening of the tooth structure. Sufficient depth which results in adequate thickness of the restoration, providing resistance to fracture and wear. So the rounded internal line angles are achieved because of the shape of the burr, which results in less stress concentration and prevention of voids in the restoration. Slight occlusal convergence of two or more opposing external walls provides the primary retention form. Occlusal convergence mainly will be in the facial and the lingual walls. So we already told that we will tilt the burr to give some divergence in the distal or mesial ridge depending upon the caries thing. So that slight divergence won't affect this retention form. Occlusal dovetail also provides primary retention form. So next, the convenience form. The width of the cavity prepared should accommodate the smallest plastic instrument and amalgam condenser which operator has into all parts of the cavity for base placement and amalgam condensation. If not, slight widening is done at that place. So next is the final tooth preparation. So in this final tooth preparation, if there is any defective enamel or any infected dentin or any caries present, we have to remove from the pulpal floor. Okay. So ideal depth we have created around 1.5 mm. So if caries is present after that also, then you can extend the cavity to 2 mm depth to remove the caries. If the caries is continuous like this, you can uniformly extend the cavity to a 2 mm depth. In case if it is an isolated caries like a pit is there, then you can remove the pit alone. Isolating the pit alone, you can remove it. So how will you remove it? You can remove it either by a burr or by a spoon excavator. Round carbide burr or a spoon excavator can be used to only remove the pit which contains caries, and there will be a peripheral sheet along the which will connect the enamel margin. That peripheral sheet will give you the resistance form, which give the whenever possible we have to save the preserve the peripheral sheet. If not possible, we will put a base and make it as a flat to provide the resistance form. So pulp protection is indicated whenever it depends on the remaining dentin thickness, which already studied in dental materials. So whenever is required, you have to put the pulp protection. So final tooth preparation, finishing. As of class 1, there is no any external additional procedures for preparing the external walls, because external walls are already prepared in the initial tooth preparation itself. 90 to 100 degree KO surface angle is maintained, and that will create an 80 to 90 degree of amalgam angle. So final procedures of cleaning and inspecting the prepared tooth should be done in final tooth preparation. Okay. So what are the other preparation types? As class 1 is considered not only the occlusal pit and fissures. So next is the facial pit of mandibular molars. This is the caries or a risk factor where usually caries occurs in mandibular molar in the facial surface. So whenever we are gonna prepare that cavity, the burr should be placed perpendicular to the tooth surface, and this is the outline for the facial pit of mandibular molar. Even it's in class 1, it also includes lingual pit of the maxillary lateral incisor. The grooves are extended and the outline is drawn like this oval, and it is restored. Next is the occlusal pits of mandibular first premolar. As I already mentioned, the burr is tilted because of the slight sloping of the tooth itself, angulation itself. So if the groove is not connected, if the fissure is not carious fully, then you can isolate like a owl shape you can create. If it is involved, then you can connect it and make it like a butterfly shape, or it's like similar to shape in the upper premolar itself. Coming to the occlusal pits of mandibular second premolar, here there is a lingual fissure. So whenever lingual fissure is involved, the first option goes for enameloplasty. So after doing enameloplasty also, if it is not removed, the caries is not removed, then you have to prepare a extend the cavity to the lingual and you have to restore it. So occlusal pit and fissures of maxillary molars. Here also occlusal similar to the mandibular second premolar. Here also if it extends palatally, if the caries extends into the fissure palatally, then you have to extend the cavity towards the fissure also. How will we prepare? How will be the outline? I will explain in later. So this is the occlusolingual preparation in maxillary molar. This is the outline. This is the conventional outline or conservative outline. If the caries is present only in the distal and the lingual palatal margin, then you have to use this. If it is involved the entire, then you have to involve the oblique ridge also and prepare a proper class 1 along with this ridge. So first, after preparing the class 1 occlusal cavity initial tooth preparation, then you have to place the burr perpendicular to the palatal tooth surface and you have to create the cavity. So once created the palatal fissure axial depth, you have to slightly tilt the burr so that the axial wall is created properly, and it should be in a depth of 0.2 to 0.5 mm. So the line angles and everything can be made proper by placing the burr against the axial wall perpendicularly. This is the final preparation of the occlusolingual preparation of maxillary molar. So that is a separate technique of placement of matrix band and base placement and amalgam restoration that we will see in next class. Similar to the occlusolingual preparation of maxillary molar, even in caries can occur in mandibular molar facial grooves also. So the preparation is always the same. You have to, it's like class 2, but the preparation size is very, the proximal box we used to prepare, no, the in class 2 that is wider, but it is very less in case of facial or lingual fissure. So here we can see caries is present seen in the facial fissure. So after creating the occlusal initial outline, they are removing the caries to the extending the cavity to the facial buccal surface, and once the axial wall is created, they are tilting the burr to the perpendicularly to making the margins and line angles intact, and they are smoothening the walls using the fine grit diamond burr. Okay. So assignments, I will give in a separate link also. So do it and send it in the classroom. Thank you.